Hello, welcome to the Motown India show. My name is Tharyan. We are back in action, but let me remind you that we have decided not to go for junkets. So do respect us for our decision. We're going to review cars and bikes as they come to us, and we shall try not to be tempted by OEMs for their lovely drives in exotic places. So let me get back to action. We have with us here the new XL6 from Maruti Suzuki, and I'm sure you must have seen a lot of reviews. So I won't waste much of my time. I will come right to the action part and tell you that this car looks pretty decent and pretty sporty. The front has been changed, the grille has been changed, the headlamps have been changed, the side profile has got a little more bling to it. The rear has got also a lot of action in terms of new tail lamps, a spoiler, and of course the new shark fin antenna. And not to miss are these new tires, which are an inch bigger or larger in size compared to the tires in the previous or outgoing model. Now that kind of describes the XL6 in totality. Now let's just hop into the front seat and start describing how comfortable or how smart the car is from the inside. Okay, now I'm inside and let's start with the first row. The driver's seat is the most amazing seat. As always, this can be adjusted for height with a lever on the side. So I tug at it and it goes a little higher. And that's the interesting part about this seat. But the most exciting part about the front two seats is that these are ventilated. And in hot summers of North India, this means a lot. This is the area which really gets hot, especially when the car is sitting in the heat and you step in, the seats are burning hot. So that makes a lot of sense and it's a great feature. Now, if you overall see the car from inside, like any modern decent looking car, this too is decent. This too has quite a lot of decent features. The whole design is quite sculpted in nature, very aesthetic and very modern. And right in front of me, I have a very sporty D-cut steering wheel with minimalistic buttons here. You have for mode and volume. Here you have for cruise control. And since this 1.5 litre engine has been mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission, this car also gets paddle shift, and these can be controlled with your fingers on either side of the steering wheel. That is if you want to be a little more aggressive or you want your car to behave the way you want it to behave. I won't get too deep into the features out here. This is a 7-inch navigation screen. This is a touch screen. This has a whole host of features, and let me confess to you, I am not a great supporter of too many features in a car. They are huge distractions, but Gen Z loves it, and Gen Z, I feel, are a bunch of crazy lot. So if they like it, let them have it. But when you're driving on roads in India, you have to be very, very careful because we have stray animals, stray cattle, stray cows, stray monkeys, stray human beings, a whole lot of strays, and then you have extremely horrible drivers who come from all sides. So your eyes need to be on the road, and any kind of distraction I would not like, except for the cold wind blowing on my face to cool me off. A gentle music will do wonders, but nothing more than that.
Hi, what can I do for you?
Tune to FM
Just say the frequency number.
95.
Tuning to 95.0 FM. Hi, what can I do for you?
Open driving range.
Taking you to fuel economy screen.
So I'm more into driving, and here I have a very decent lever for gear shifts. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a 6-speed automatic transmission. And what else do you get in the space here? The seat per se is very, very comfortable, ventilated. You have also ventilated cup holders here on the center console here. And then you have two charging points. One is a USB, the other is a 12V socket. And there are two buttons here to adjust your ventilation speeds. So let me get back to the seat here. The seat is quite comfortable, and this is the position I take if I were to drive, and this is quite a comfortable position for me. The steering wheel, it can be adjusted for tilt as well as reach. Once I do that, I lock this with the lever and I'm ready to go. I must tell you, I'm quite impressed by the XL6 from the interior part, especially in front. You have a decent IRVM, then you have two sunshades here, and these have vanity mirrors with light, and this too has light, and then you have reading lamps here, and these can be adjusted as to how you want it to be operated. Quite a lot of interesting features, not too many so that you get confused as if you are in an aircraft, just the right kind of features and the right number of features. That is what Maruti Suzuki is all about. It's got a perfect balance. And if you also notice that right behind me on top, there are louvers here, and you must be wondering, what is this? Well, I'll explain that when I sit at the rear seat, but remember there are vents here. And what are these vents supposed to do? Don't assume that these are air vents and the AC vents where you're going to get cooled. It's something else. I'll explain as I jump on to the second row. So let's go. I'm in the second row now. I've adjusted the front seat according to my liking. I'm around 5'10". I'm quite bulky. So I guess even a taller driver or an occupant would be fixing his seat or adjusting his seat according to this. So that's adjusted the front. Now in the second row, to begin with, they are captain seats. They come with decent size armrest. It's not very broad, it's not very thin, it's kind of decent and comfortable too. There's a lot of space here, which takes away the claustrophobic feeling when you're in the second row. Because of the captain seats, there's ample space in between the two seats and in front, so it gives you a very airy spacious feeling. And what are the features one get here to play around with? Kind of nothing, literally. The armrest is there, which is comfortable. In front, I don't think I see a USB slot. It's just a 12V socket out there. And in front, there is nothing. I get a grab handle here. That's the max I get. And in front, you have a little storage space in the seat skin. And coming back to the louvers or vents I was talking about when I was sitting in front, and please don't confuse this with an air conditioning vent. It is not a vent. This is not coming from the AC or the compressor, so don't expect it to throw out very chilled air. It's simply a blower, and the blower control is here with speeds of 1, 2, 3. And what it does is, when you switch on the AC in front, and the moment you switch on the blower here, it sucks in the cool air and passes it on. In fact, it's just a blower. It's not even an air conditioning vent. So it can get a little uncomfortable in the blistering heat, because The air conditioner per se will not be functioning to the best of its abilities when temperatures go as high as 44, 45, 46 degrees centigrade, and that happens quite too often in a place like Delhi in the summers. So that's all the features in the middle row or the second row. We also have a third row. I have fixed this seat and I am going to go back and see how comfortable an adult would be in the third row. Now I'm going to go into the third row. Now getting into or the ingress part of it is kind of okay. There is a little flap button here. In fact, it's kind of a lever kind of function it has. You pull it, the backrest goes a little tilted, and then you have to push the seat in front or slide it in front. So it's not one of those modern uh, touch and tumble. In fact, it's touch, pull, and push or pull, whatever you like to say. And once I'm inside, let me see how comfortable I can get. Now I'm in the third row, and the second row seat or the captain seat has been adjusted according to my liking and comfort. And the third row where I'm sitting, I must admit and confess that I am surprised because these seats are really comfortable. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that, the reason being simple. Since it's captain's seat, there is a little gap between the two seats in front, so your foot can go, your left foot can go a little out and rest itself, while your right foot is equally comfortable in its position. So there's ample kind of space for your knee, legs, your feet, and this has always been the problem with the third row in many of the cars which claim themselves to be a six-seater or a seven-seater or an eight-seater or God knows what. So this, I must say, Maruti engineers and those guys who fix seats have done a remarkable job. And for an adult who's around 5'10", these seats are very, very comfortable. And I feel maybe it takes a person who's 6 feet tall, anybody taller can hop in front. Anybody 6 feet tall or less can come at the back. I'm talking of adults. These are great seats. Now, what does this person get? He gets a huge cup holder or a holder for your beer can, and he can just simply enjoy. Now for the cold air to come here, he has to depend on the blower in front, and I have actually switched on the machine and the car is running right now, and I can feel the draft of cool air coming. So it's amazing. I will not be complaining ever if I were to sit on the third row for a long, long journey. And in terms of other features, well, the seat per se is very comfortable. It's a 50-50 split. These have got adjustable headrests here. And not to forget, you have a fixed glass here on the side. So that gives you a very roomy feel and you don't feel claustrophobic. And you have a grab handle in case the person in front were to drive a little recklessly. But overall, a very comfortable ride for the third row passenger. So kudos to the entire Maruti Suzuki team. Okay, let's start off and put it on the D mode, that is the drive mode, and off we go. And it's quite a crowded time. It's the evening's time and I need to be very careful while driving. And like I always said, we need to adhere to the speed limits of the land. Now, if you see near the gear lever, there are two modes, the D mode and the M mode. The D mode is obviously the drive mode. In fact, it goes automatically. The moment you press the accelerator, it moves from 1 to 6. In the M mode, M of course is the manual mode, which means you can use your paddle shifts in the M mode and drive literally manually. The paddle shifts which are here get activated even in the D mode just when you need to perhaps downshift and move fast, but that intervention is for a very short period, and the D mode, the automatic transmission takes over, and in fact the automatic system takes over immediately the moment you downshift and start accelerating. But in the M mode, it's paddle shifts all the way. Now here I am in the D mode and I am zipping. I can't go at high speed. The speed limits here are 50 kilometers per hour, so I need to keep it at that. There is a camera out there, so I'm being careful. Now, the moment I pass the camera, let's assume I want to zip. There I can feel it. It's downshifted because I use the paddle shifts, and it becomes a little faster. But immediately thereafter, the paddle shifts become ineffective, and it's the automatic mode which takes over. Now I am going to shift it in M mode. In M mode, by default, it is in the first gear. So the moment you put it in the M mode, it starts moving. I'm accelerating. You can hear the sound. It's revving up. It's not moving up. So I need to use the paddle shifts here. So M is purely the paddle shift mode. So paddle shifts are basically fun for a little while, and when you have an automatic mode, a complete D mode, it's best to shift into the D mode and let the automatic transmission take over, and you can simply put your foot on the accelerator to your liking. Overall, I feel the car engine is quite responsive. It is the gear changes are pretty smooth, and I find the engine quite a capable one. And driving this car is also a lot of fun. It has a very sporty character to it in terms of the steering wheel and the way it handles. So it's quite a pretty six-seater, and I'm sure it'll continue to remain popular in its segment. The moment you start the engine, it's only at that point can you change the gears from parking to either reverse or neutral or drive or manual. But what happens if your battery dies initially and you're not able to start the car at all? Now, if the battery is dead and you cannot start the car, then in the case of an automatic, it just doesn't change gear from P to R or neutral. But suppose your battery is dead and you need to tow the car, you cannot tow it on parking. It'll crash the transmission. You cannot tow the car in the parking mode. So the only option for you to do is to shift it to neutral and get the car towed. But for that, in the case of a dead battery, this doesn't move. So that's where the shift lock mechanism comes handy. You depress that and you move it to neutral as desired, and in this position it's free from the gears, it's a neutral position, and the car can be towed. So this is what a shift lock is meant to do.